September 2020 is a historic month. We have baseball, soccer, hockey, horse racing, basketball, and now football. For the first time ever, every major sport is being played at once. This week only, we're giving you 30 days of all access with your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper for just $199. The normal price there, $349. So what do you get with the WagerTalk 30-day all access for less than $7 a day? You get every play released from your favorite capper. No coupon needed, just $199 each, and this offer is valid through midnight Saturday.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman, the Prez, and I'm the pilot for the next 50 or so minutes. But the heavy lifter, well, that's you, Teddy Covers. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right today, Lawrence. How about yourself?
No complaints, man. You know, I'm excited about today's show. We got Rob Vino on, Kenny White, a real legend in this space. Of course, Ralph Michaels, like always. It's going to be a heavy college football show today, but we are going to obviously look at both the NBA games. And, you know, before we get, I got to point out what the hell happened at Wager Talk yesterday. I mean, I don't know if you checked the yesterday's plays out, but dude, we had Tony Finn go 3-1. We had Ralph Michaels go 4-0. We had Dave Koken go 5-0 yesterday. Andrew McGinnis 4-0. And are you ready for this? Gianni the Greek comes on our show for the first time, and he literally laid down a 9-0 day. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Well, we had Koken and Johnny, and both of them came on and gave winners. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to call Johnny's a right side, but he talked about on this show how if he was going to take Toronto, which he was, he would take them on the money line and not lay 1.5 and not lay 2 and not lay 2.5. And that ended up being a big decision between cashing a winning bet and losing a bet on the same game. If you watch the show, you got the info. And of course, Koken came on and talked about South Alabama. He's like, yeah, this team can play. Southern Miss isn't all that. He's there. And he gave great advice talking about the fact that, okay, yeah, this line's moved, but week one, the lines are going to move. You can't be panicking because you didn't get the best of the number, because some of the point spreads are going to be 3 touchdowns off, like the South Alabama Southern Miss game was.
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredible. And, you know, I bet the Raptors on the money line. I took Gianni's advice, and, man, that was one incredible ending. Unbelievable pass. I mean, the whole last minute was really gripping. I think, you know, nobody talks about Kyle Lowry's absolute bonehead mistake by leaving the guy standing under the bucket. There was just no reason for him to become the third defender in that situation that gave Boston the lead. But then he makes up for it with a Tom Brady-esque pass to Obi One Kenobi. What an ending to a game. You think the Raptors are going to get some momentum going into the next one?
Well, I got a 5%er up on game 4 already. So I got a pretty strong opinion on that game. You can get that right now at either Sports Memo or WagerTalk.com. But we have to talk, because you're going to blame Lowry for the switch there at the end. I'm not convinced that was Lowry's fault. Nick Nurse will probably, just who was supposed to switch and who didn't get in the right position. I'm not convinced it was Lowry, but when you hit the game-winning dunk with 0.5 seconds left and the opposing team executes, I mean, that doesn't happen. You know, that really, the execution on that play. Remember, they had Taco. Boston had Taco. What's he, 7'7"? Trying to defend the pass, the inbound pass. 7'6". However tall he is, he's a really tall guy, and his arms are even taller. So for Lowry, just to get the pass there was insane. But remember, that pass has to be there with 0.5 seconds left. You have to catch and shoot. There's no time to diddle around. The pass has to be spot on. And for a newbie to hit it, I mean, I'll give Toronto all the credit in the world. That's an incredibly executed play. And it will be interesting to see how the Celtics bounce back, or if the Celtics bounce back, or if that's the type of punch that Boston doesn't take very well. We'll find that out in game 4. Like I said, I have a fairly strong opinion on that going in.
Teddy, we're going to get to bad beats. Then we got your big game breakdown. And I actually do have a Kanye West award. We'll talk about it later. I'll surprise you. But first, I just want to make one. What?
Oh, just talking about bad beats. Go. I thought you were
I just want to say one quick thing about the Raptor game. If there were fans in the stands, Kyle Lowry doesn't make that pass. He was able to back up about 5 feet away from the line to get the arc over the taco. Very interesting, because I think he would have been much tighter to the line if there were no fans. So, that's something we'll never know, but there's something that is clearly being talked about.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of bad beats, bad bets last night, I mean, bad bets, you have to talk about Vegas. The Golden Knights, who it was like 3 days ago, people were telling me that Vegas was the best team in hockey, and I should put all my money on Vegas to win the Stanley Cup. And now they're in a win-or-go-home game tonight, and everything's falling apart for them. So they were minus 250 last night. They lost that game 4-0. That's not
it was
right
unbelievable.
What's up? Why
unbelievable. Is it because I'm not sorry about the coughing. I'm one of those idiots, Teddy. I'm one of those guys that think Vegas will win it all. And now I think they might even struggle in tonight's game. And Vancouver's at plus 180. I think they might be worth a look. But yeah, I mean, the Schfichter Pucker factor for Vegas right now must be at an all-time high. That is for sure. Brother, let's get into Teddy's big game. What?
Oh, that's fine. Go on.
Let's get into Teddy's big game breakdown. Los Angeles Lakers game 1, -7 versus Houston. The over and under is 226.5. What do you like in this game?
This is an absolutely fascinating game. And when you look at these second round series, and the concept of, okay, the one team's been sitting and they're fresh legs, and the other team's just been involved in an intense down to the wire set. The normal thought process is, well, the team that's fresh is going to have an edge. And that certainly was the case last night between the Clippers and the Nuggets. A game where, I'm not going to call it a bad beat, but if you had the over in that contest, you sure didn't like the third quarter of that game. Looked good at halftime, did not get there. But Denver wasn't ready to play, and it showed fairly early. Yeah. Mike Malone pulled the plug fairly early on that game. Houston's had an extra 24 hours compared to Denver, but their series was no easier than the Nuggets. So the primary question that you want to ask is, are we going to see a Rockets team that's a little bit gassed, or are we going to see a Lakers team that's a little bit flat? Because they haven't played in so long. It's a little bit out of sync. I'm not convinced we see either one of those. Houston's had enough time. It's not a 48-hour turnaround. They have the extra day, and that matters. And the Lakers are a team that really didn't get into any kind of rhythm in the bubble at all during the seeding games. And they finally found a little bit of rhythm in their round 1 series against Portland. I thought they played probably their best basketball since entering the bubble in that series against the Blazers, games 2, 3, and 4, when they dominated Portland. Certainly 2 of those games they controlled. Now they've had another layoff. LA's upside is enormous. LA's upside is championships. Houston's isn't. Okay, the Lakers are the better of these 2 teams. And when it comes to stopping Anthony Davis, I honestly can't imagine what the Rockets' game plan is going to be. PJ Tucker's going to have to put together a superhuman effort, but Davis is going to have to camp out in the low post and dominate the glass. And in previous meetings with Houston, he hasn't been looking to do that. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, it's a Lakers team with a lot of moving parts. They could have Rondo back in the lineup tonight, maybe not. It's a Lakers team that, let's not forget, they changed their entire starting backcourt prior to entering the bubble. So it's not a team that's been playing together all year long. They've made significant roster alterations, and fairly recently. So they're not in perfect chemistry right now. But when all's said and done, Lakers are a good notch better than Houston. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they win tonight's game by margin.
The Prez, you're watching Wager Today. We got to give out our Kanye West Award. Then we're going to run to a commercial break and back with Rob Vino. Teddy, my Kanye West Award is simple. It goes to a monumentally stupid play, person, or people from the night before. And I'm going to hand it out to Alan Vigneault. He is the coach for the Philadelphia Flyers. I understand that it didn't end up mattering because Philadelphia came back and won in second overtime. But, man, there was a time in that game where on the third goal, the New York Islanders scored. Alan Vigneault challenged it, claiming goalie interference. It was clearly not goalie interference. And as a result, and I don't know how much hockey you follow, brother, but if you challenge a play in hockey and you lose, the other team gets a power play. So what happened? He challenged the third goal. They lost the challenge. The New York Islanders got a power play and scored on that power play. A terrible coaching decision by Alan Vigneault. It did not end up mattering because Philly still won the game, but still just a complete brain fart by a really, really talented coach. You have anything to add?
I say let's take a break. When we come back, Rob Vino joins us right here on Wager Talk Today.
This Saturday, it's the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby. Will Tiz the Law make it 2 in a row in the Triple Crown? Yes, it's the second leg of the Triple Crown, as Tiz the Law already won the Belmont earlier this summer. Join me on Saturday as I attack the Kentucky Derby. If you remember, in 2017, I advised my clients to invest $390 worth of wagers in the Kentucky Derby. Well, that $390 investment brought back over $9,000 for myself and my clients. If you want to join me on Saturday and bet the Kentucky Derby exactly how I am doing it, pick up my Kentucky Derby package over at WagerTalk.com. Not only will you get my exact wagers and betting strategies for the race, I'll also include my top sports pick for Saturday in either football, baseball, or basketball. Join me this Saturday for my Kentucky Derby package over at WagerTalk.com, just $39.
Teddy, my friend, segment 2. Lots of people in the chat room like to say hello. John Howard, Brian Watson, we love you, man. Budra Ghazi, this Prez guy really brings this show down. Okay, well, we can accept that. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Teddy, another 2 days ago, a guy in the chat room said the guy in the middle is a disaster. That be you. So, hey, look, we can't be for everybody. What can I say? Mike Campbell, nice to see you. Frank Budd, thanks so much always for joining us. Same with you, Chance and Elliot. Oleg, nice to have you with us, my friend. If you guys have questions, please put them up. I'm looking at the chat room the entire time. We'll try to get to some of them throughout the show. First, I just want to give out a couple of promos, and then we're going to bring Rob Vino in. My promo first, Teddy, and I don't spend a lot of time promoting me on these shows. But I do have a 5% play in NHL today. I have had 4 5% plays in hockey in the playoffs. I have won all 4 of them. I'm also on a 25-8 all sports run with these 5% plays. I got a promo code for you guys. Use the promo code Prez 5% NHL. That's Prez 5% NHL. you get $15 off of that package. As well, of course, till Sunday, $199 for a month of anybody's plays. It's regularly priced at $349. So check that out. It's $199 for anyone's plays. And well, Teddy, Rob Vino could be one of those people everyone purchases. You as well, dude. You are absolutely rolling. 6-0 NBA run, 23-7 in your last 30 NBA plays. Teddy, congratulations. Let's bring Rob Vino in and talk to this man. What's up, Teddy? What's up, Rob? How are you, Rob?
How are you guys today? Glad to be here.
Yeah, we love having you, man. You're going to be a regular guest every Friday. And guys, I got to tell you, if you've not heard Rob Vino do a breakdown on a game, you're about to be regaled. It doesn't get much better than you, Rob. I love listening to you take apart these games. Let's start right away with NBA. Then we're going to hit 2 college football games. Rob, just a monster game tonight between Miami and Milwaukee. Miami surprisingly up 2-0, although Teddy wasn't shocked about that. Here we go again, +5. Over and under 223. I'll leave it to you. Please take apart this game.
Yeah, it could be as simple as don't bet against Miami right now, Prez. If you combine their full game, their first half, their second half, this team's 15-3 against the spread in the playoffs so far. So it's been a disaster trying to play against them. I think the physicality factor works in the favor of Miami. They brought in 3 players for a reason: Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala. Those 3 guys certainly bring a bit of mental toughness to the team and a defensive aspect that maybe wasn't there. We know how the last game ended, right? The last game ended on a foul call, a pair of foul calls that maybe should have been called whatsoever. Yeah. But the series, guys, statistically, straight across the board is pretty even. The one difference for Milwaukee, and probably the reason why they lost the last game, was they went 7 of 25 from the 3-point line after hitting 16 threes in the first game, while Miami was hitting 17 threes. So Milwaukee gets outscored 51-21 from 3. That's not good. And, it's just tough right now to back the Bucks at this price. Don't have much to say about the total here in this game. I think the odds makers have it right, but I think if you're going to play, you just have to stick to the Miami train right now.
And let me ask you this, Rob, because it's such a fascinating playoffs in the NBA because you don't have the odd switch between games 2 and games 3 and games 4 and games 5 as the series shift from one court to the other. So when a series, this game has been priced in the Milwaukee -5 to -6 range in game 1 and game 2, and now again here in game 3. Do you think if a series is clearly mispriced, and this series is clearly mispriced in my opinion, I thought the opening line should be these 2 teams would pick them right now, and certainly the first 2 games have that opinion has served me well. Do you think that at this stage of the campaign, we should be really worried about what happened at all in terms of the statistical profiles and the point spreads and the power ratings from March and February and back then? Or do you think we should just be focusing on what's happened since they went back in the bubble? Because this point spread makes sense if you look at the whole season. It makes absolutely no sense if you're just looking at what happened since these teams returned to play.
Yeah, I've been mostly, Teddy, focused on what's happened in the bubble. And power ratings wise, I think you're right. I think it's been mispriced. On a neutral floor, I've had Milwaukee a 3-point favorite in this series from the outset. So to see them getting almost twice as much as that would lead you toward the Miami side. But, in answer to your question, really briefly, I think you consider what's happened since they've returned. Milwaukee has not been the same team. They're a desperate team tonight, though. They're in the same situation Toronto was in last night. Of course, like Toronto, they could win and not cover, which, you're getting even more points here than Boston was last night. So I would go with your latter statement there, that I believe we take advantage of what's been played since the return.
He's Rob Vino. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And Rob, you've had an outstanding NBA season, so congratulations on that. And I tell you, you and Drew talk college football. You just are so good at that sport. So let's get straight to it. Let's take apart two games. We'll start with SMU. They're minus 22 versus Texas State with a total of 70. Where should we go in this one?
Well, there's probably a couple directions you can go, Prez. I will say this. If I just start real quick here with SMU's offense versus the Texas State defense. Last year, these two teams play. The game goes 47-17 in favor of SMU. SMU gained 639 yards in that game. I think the surprising factor is that they did it on the ground, 390 yards rushing the football last year, 56 rush attempts, only 19 pass attempts. They didn't have to do much through the air whatsoever. They scored 47 points, guys, but they turned the ball over 3 times, and twice they turned it over on the Texas State 15, on the Texas State 35. So it could have been worse than that, and it might get worse this year. Quarterback Shane Buechele back. I figure this is probably a showcase year for him for the NFL draft, so probably they throw the football more than they did last year in this game. Star wide receiver Reggie Roberson, injured last 4 games last year, back. But the key is all 5 starting offensive linemen back for this team, as opposed to Texas State on the other side of the football, which lost 8 defensive starters. It's a rebuild for that team. I think the key to this game, if you're going to play Texas State or if you're going to play over, you look at their offense. Jake Spavital, the head coach, takes over as the play caller. He's an air raid guy. In fact, he was with Sonny Dykes at California for a year. But Spavital, air raid, fires his offensive coordinator, Bob Stitt, from last year, takes over with his new starting quarterback, Brady McBride, a Memphis transfer who's drawn rave reviews. He comes in for what was a stopgap quarterback in Tyler Vitt. But McBride's much more of a playmaker, had an exceptional camp. They've got a deep wide receiving core here. The team's anxious to go. I think the strength of this team, guys, is offense this year rather than defense. SMU should have no problem putting up points. But the Texas State side, which got 17 against an SMU defense that led the nation in sacks last year, probably gets over 17 this year and into the 20s, because that front 4 for SMU a little bit decimated. One more thing to consider real fast here, guys. 97-degree heat in Texas for this game. Second half, you might see a lot of defenders sucking wind and guys on offense running right by them.
Sure. So this total, Rob, opened as low as 64.5 and is now 60. And again, that was a very early opener. The broader market was 67, 68. Now we're looking at 69s, and it looks like it may go higher. It sounds to me like you have at least a modest interest in the over in this one.
Yeah, they pushed it to 70 or 70.5, Teddy, and then it came back a little bit. I mean, 68, you take away somewhat of a key. 69, certainly 45-24 is a common score that you're taking away. But to me, SMU can get above what they had last year. So my slight lean is toward the over here. I don't think I want to lay this many points on the road, but I think that the over might be worth looking at.
Rob Vino, love you joining us. Every Friday, you'll see Rob with us. We got Kenny White coming up as well today. Smash that like button, guys. 172 of you watching, only 34 likes. Let's go. Teddy and I need to get to 100. Rob, MTS, we spoke about this yesterday. They're playing Army. They're a dog of 3 and a hook. 55 is the number. What do we do in this one?
Well, it's an interesting scenario for Middle Tennessee, right, who didn't even find out they were playing this game until about 3.5 weeks ago. So to try and prep for the option with a defensive front 7 that lost 6 of their 7 guys, a lot of replacements, you could see a lot of blown assignments. Obviously, you have to be disciplined and stick to your assignments when you play against option football. I could see Middle Tennessee having a lot of trouble in that area in this game with the short time frame to work on this offense. But the other side of the coin is, their offense, Army's defense doesn't fit that either. Middle Tennessee is going to spread these guys out. Quarterback Asher O'Hara is a dual threat. You have to worry about him throwing and passing. They go extremely fast. Army's really not equipped to handle them either. So it looks like a game where both offenses should have extreme advantages. You do worry somewhat about Army controlling the clock if you like to play the over in this game, because they do go on extended drives. But the counter to that could be Army's rushing attack may rip it off in big chunks here against this defense, guys. Tackling is something that hasn't been good in college football the last few years, but with less time in pads during summer camp, with no spring camp for a lot of teams and less work in pads in summer or fall camp, the tackling from the outset could be deteriorated a little bit. I think Army probably still is worth, looking at as far as hitting and making sure tackles, but Middle Tennessee, I wouldn't bank on. So, again, it's hard to play Army over, but in this instance, both offenses have extreme advantages.
And I wanted to ask you real quick, Rob, because you hit on the exact point I wanted to talk about with the concerns on the Middle Tennessee defense. Does Army have the playmakers to get chunks of yardage, or are their playmakers pedestrian and they're not going to be able to break many big plays, even with the schematic advantage?
Well, your entire backfield is back, so the backs are talented. The quarterback is a senior who takes over, so you're talking about a kid who's been in the program for 3 years. I'd put my faith in him a little bit. And in fact, Teddy, you may see two QBs here because the battle was so close and both guys have experience in the offense. So I think the Army offense will be okay and has the ability to rip it off in chunks. And as we always see with the service academies, when they decide to throw, the receivers are generally wide open. The quarterbacks for these service academies, and they come few and far between, that can complete the passes when they're open, are the quarterbacks that lead their teams to 9 and 10 win seasons. So we'll see how this goes for Army right now. But two talented quarterbacks and an entire fleet of running backs behind them.
Rob Vino, you didn't disappoint, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us on Wager Talk today. We will see you. You're on the NBA show later?
I am.
Excellent stuff, guys. Make sure to check that out. 3 p.m. Eastern. Teddy, you joining him for today's NBA show?
I am.
I'm not. Let's hit to a commercial break. Right back with Kenny White.
Football is here, and the Gold Sheet, the nation's oldest sports betting newsletter, is back for its 63rd year, bigger and better than ever. Gold Sheet has a new, improved web-based, mobile-friendly format that includes all of the winning information you rely on with the easiest access ever. While the format is new, all of the features you are accustomed to are still there. That's right, analysis on every pro and college game, key release selections, updated power ratings on every team, point spread logs for all NFL and college teams, and all college football games through May 2021 will be included. To celebrate joining the Wager Talk family, we are offering our subscribers our best deal ever. Sign up for a season of any Gold Sheet product and get $200 in wager bucks as a bonus. Wager bucks can be used to purchase handicapping information from any of our 40+ experts on WagerTalk or sportsmemo.com. Head to goldsheet.com/WagerTalk for any subscription and bonus details.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Wager Talk today. I'm Lawrence Presman. He's Teddy Covers. Just a quick reminder to everyone, I have a 5% play in hockey tonight. You guys can get it $15 off. Use the promo code Prez, 5% NHL. Teddy, we got Kenny White coming up shortly, but before we get into that, I like to take some questions from the chat room and on YouTube. One of the guys wants to know, Christopher Chapman, any opinion on the Tigers for today?
Which game? The time. So we got Detroit in a doubleheader. In general, I don't do a lot with doubleheaders. In a season like this, I don't think I bet either game of a doubleheader all year. I know I haven't. It's not an I don't think. In this year, with the 7-inning doubleheader games, and with the lineups that will vary dramatically from one game to the next, with bullpen issues, there's money to be made, perhaps, on the Tigers moving forward. I'm not convinced the Tigers haven't already done what they're going to do this year. Maybe they hang around, and maybe they lose game 1. You take a look at game 2, but I can't tell you it's a game that I have a strong opinion on. Good luck.
Yeah, dude, I
Thanks
got no opinion on it either, and I'm on a 10-2 baseball run, and yeah, so I'm with you too, and I've also stayed away from the doubleheaders. Teddy, let's bring Kenny White in. I'm excited, man. I mean, firstly, I don't even know if he remembers that me and him met, which we'll talk about that. So let's bring Kenny White in, and let's talk college football. Kenny, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I mean, you're not part of the Wager Talk family, but man, I got to tell you, if you want to hear what Wager Talk thinks about you, check out Puck Time. Dave Koken went bananas. I mean, he was literally, oh my God, you guys are going to get to listen to Kenny White. Take notes, get a highlighter. There's nobody more knowledgeable than Kenny. That comes right out of Dave Koken's mouth. It's just a pleasure to have you on this show, my friend.
Thanks, Prez. Thanks, Teddy. Thanks for having me on today, guys. It's been a long time. I think we either met at the Stardust or we met at a Vegas Insider convention.
Yes, we did. We met at the golf course up on the hill where the ball does go the way the green tells you to. But that's every golf course for me. Yeah, Peter Gold. I haven't spoken to him or heard about him in a long, long time. But
you have to call him the disgraced Peter Gold.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
What a shame.
Yeah, and he was such a nice guy. He was so generous to all of us back in the day. But Kenny, it was must have been 15
generous to us because he was
years
spending
ago.
their money.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he spent their money on Kenny and I.
I know. Peter
We'll
Gold
take
was nothing
that.
but wonderful to me. He always treated me really well, but it was all embezzled money.
Guys,
Oh,
smash that like button. Let's get to 100. Kenny, man, you are literally one of the most famous and publicized odds makers in American sports. What are you doing today? Where are you at?
Yeah, Prez, I got my own website, KennyWhiteSports.com. Published my second college football magazine. You know, I've been doing it forever. I've been publishing my own, or not publishing, but putting together a magazine or a book every year for me to handicap college football. My dad published magazines in the early 70s, so I knew how to do it from him. And then I decided, you know what, it's time for me to get this information out there, and it's been great. People just absolutely love looking through the magazine, reading the player ratings, and you know, it comes down to that. There's still so many things happening. In my second year of publishing, we get COVID-19, so much uncertainty. It was hard to get information. And then now the schedules change and the players are opting out. There's so much change. But you know what? For us, for sports bettors now, and me on the other side of the counter, this is the greatest thing that could possibly happen to us. South Alabama was absolutely an easy winner last night. There was 4 starters out for Southern Miss on their defensive side of the football. Their 4 best defensive starters out. They made the opponent's quarterback look like he was a Heisman Trophy winner, and he's just really, barely above average quarterback. But to find information like that is king. In my magazine, you can go in now. Max Dugan's out for TCU. You go in, you see what I have him rated and what I have the backup rated. The difference comes off the power rating. You know how many points that guy's value to the line is.
Brilliant stuff. Well, let's talk about 3 games that are happening this weekend. Let's start with Arkansas State, plus 19 versus Memphis. They expect a lot of scoring here, too. 74 is the number. How are you taking this game apart?
Well, very interesting. Memphis lost their best running back, Kenneth Gainwell, because he's opting out because of the COVID. So many players, I think we're going to see this happening, which is, again, this is great for sports bettors, not bookmakers, because when you get those cluster injuries and you find 4 defensive players out, the 4 best on one team, they're going to have problems stopping the opponent. So this situation, Arkansas State, I love the head coach at Ark State, Blake Anderson. He's done a tremendous job there. On the other side, Ryan Silverfield now takes over as the head coach. One thing I learned about 30 years ago, guys, reading a book, I think it was called How to Swim with the Sharks. An envelope magnate out of Minneapolis wrote this business book, and I read it and said, when one of your top people leave, interview that person to see who he thinks his replacement should be, and whoever he tells you, draw a line through that guy's name because they don't want somebody to succeed after them. They're going to give you somebody who's not going to succeed to make them look better. Well, Norville's headed out of town. He said, yeah, hire Ryan Silverfield as the head coach. Now, that doesn't happen in every occasion, but you know what? I trust it until I see otherwise. So Silverfield's going to have to prove that he can be a head guy. So I think there's a coaching mismatch. I'll take Blake Anderson in this spot. Memphis last year, their home games, median average score, 35-24. They won by 11 a game. We're getting 19 in this game. And I think Ark State has plenty enough on offense coming back to stay in this game. It'll be a good game. I think it'll be up and down, obviously, by the total. But I'm not betting any overs, not one over in college or the NFL the first 2 weeks of either season, because I don't think either league, the offenses will be ready.
So let me give you a follow-up on that particular question, Kenny, because I've heard a lot of discussion about what to do with totals at the very beginning of the season because we haven't seen certainly in any NFL preseason or in college, the normal drills that take place throughout the month of August. But on the same token, you also have the defensive players who haven't been doing the live tackling, and do we see more broken tackle, big plays that kind of ameliorates the issues of the offenses being a little bit out of sync, or are the broken tackle, big plays going to be few and far between, and then we're going to see a lot of offenses that are, making mistakes more than they would a few weeks from now?
Great question. Every year that happens, Teddy. Every single year the the offense gets big plays in the first quarter of games every year because the simple fact, the defense has been practicing against the second string offense for a month, and they haven't seen size, strength, and speed of the opponent that they're going to see. But you know what? It only takes one quarter for the defense to figure it out and rattle the cage and say, you know what? I better pick it up a step because these guys are coming harder, faster, and stronger than I thought they were. So it doesn't take long for the defense to make that adjustment. So when you're looking at these games, I have actually looked at first quarters going over, and then the rest of the game in game after a couple of scores going under that total. I got beat last night in Central Arkansas, a big bet at halftime under 25.5. Central Arkansas drives the field with 1 minute to go to punch it in for a touchdown. But you know what? I'll take my chances with that any day. But I think that's going to be a solid strategy for the first 2 weeks. First quarter's over. After that, the rest of the game under.
He's Kenny White. So excited to have you with us, brother. MTS, we spoke about this game with Rob Vino, plus 3.5 versus Army. What are you doing in this one?
One thing I think, Prez, with this COVID and lack of prep time, the team that can run the football better is going to win these games. And that's normally the case in college football. So when you think of Middle Tennessee State and Army, who runs the football better? It's going to be Army. They're going to be set up. They'll play it well. I love Jabari Law as the quarterback for Army. He brings another level that they've never seen before. The sample size is small, but 16 for 20, 311 yards and a touchdown, 500 rushing yards last year. This guy's ready to be the star of the Army offense. Middle Tennessee, I don't know if Rick Stockstill, he may be on his way out ready for retirement. This team has struggled on the road as of late. 0-6 last year straight up, 7-15 ATS their last 22 away. Now, Army doesn't have a great home record, don't get me wrong, but you know what? No crowd in the stands. Home doesn't mean anything. That's the other thing. All these lines I'm seeing in NFL and college, I feel like they've been built as if this was a regular year. Totals, normal what they would be. Sides, I think home field has been built into college and NFL, the full home field, which I don't think it's worth anything. With only 25% fans in the stands, there's zero home field to that.
So let me ask you real quick, Kenny. Are you literally adjusting zero? Because I've been debating what I was going to adjust for home field. There's still a travel issue. There's still the familiarity versus the unfamiliarity. And I made a base decision to use 1.5 and adjust from there. Is your home field advantage right now a legitimate zero? Or are you putting in a half point or a point or something like that?
Legitimate zero. The field is the same size that they play on at their place. The practice field, all of that, nothing's different. What home field is in my study over the years. Now, you're right, there is travel, but if there's a Saturday game and they fly out on Thursday, I just don't think, and the other part of this is right now, COVID, is everybody's focused. There's no bars or nightclubs to go out to at nighttime, so everybody's getting tucked into bed. I think you're getting the best performance out of every athlete in every sport right now.
Kenny, SMU, Texas State, the Mustangs, big favorite here. Over and under 70, another nice big total. We already know you're not betting overs. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, doing research is an amazing thing. We lost two quarterbacks, as I mentioned last night, Max Duggan for TCU, and then Texas State loses their quarterback, Tyler Vitt, who also is now in quarantine. So there could be additional players for Texas State, so we got to be wary of that. Jake Spivatal, the head coach there, is in his second year. He came from West Virginia. He brought in a no-huddle up-tempo offense. They weren't ready to run up-tempo last year. So they only played 140 plays per game. That's NCAA average. He wants to get to 155 to 160 plays per game. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it now without Vitt, but Vitt wasn't very good last year. 11 touchdowns, 14 INTs. In my magazine, you'll see the power rating. My backup quarterback is just as good. I don't think there's any drop-off, but they're going to start a guy I didn't have in my magazine, Brady McBride, a transfer from Memphis. He's really on the same level, so they got three quarterbacks of the same grade. Their best quarterback, Gresham Jensen, transferred out. So they got three quarterbacks all battling for the position. Again, they want to go up-tempo and fast, but I don't think they're going to be able to with a quarterback who hasn't played any games in this system whatsoever. So I think this game, the total, the bettors were right in the way they bet it because of the philosophy by both coaches, because we know SMU wants to go up and down fast, and with Steve Buechele, they're going to put points on the board. This could be a blowout. SMU could destroy this team, just the fact that Texas Tech breaking in a new quarterback.
So, Kenny, I got to say, A-level guess, I like it.
Wow.
I appreciate that so much. Self-promote for a minute and then say goodbye. What do you got going on?
Hey, you got it. Well, the magazine is my main thing. That's I think a great information piece for anybody to have that's betting college football. And you get my PDF, you can get it right now. You go to the website, kennywhitesports.com, $19.99. You get the PDF. You use the coupon code at ISSUU. That's where you can read the magazine. And the schedules are correct. I've got all the correct schedules for all 77 teams. And I say 77 because I have Air Force in there. They're going to play 2 games. They're in the book. All the player ratings, all the projected final scores for every game for all 77 teams.
Wow,
and thanks for having me on, guys.
Brother, it's a pleasure. And one thing about Wager Talk, we don't mind promoting the greats in this industry, whether they're part of our family or not. And it was just an honor and privilege to have you with us. And Teddy will speak to you again. We're sure we're going to have you back regularly. Thank you, Kenny, and best of luck this weekend. First college football weekend. I hope you sweep the board, my friend. Guys, let's take a quick commercial break.
I just want to say, too, thank you. It's a pleasure. I don't just do anybody's show. You guys are doing a great job at Wager Talk. Amazing. You guys put an amazing roster together. Really, it's truly an amazing roster of people you have working there. So obviously, you guys are doing it right, and you're probably getting a lot of people to the site following great information. Love to be on. It's my pleasure being on with you guys.
Well, listen, expect an email from our CEO, Rick, to add to our roster. Get the hell out of here. Let's take a commercial break.
This Saturday, it's the 146th running of the Kentucky Derby. Will Tiz the Law make it 2 in a row in the Triple Crown? Yes, it's the second leg of the Triple Crown, as Tiz the Law already won the Belmont earlier this summer. Join me on Saturday as I attack the Kentucky Derby. If you remember, in 2017, I advised my clients to invest $390 worth of wagers in the Kentucky Derby. Well, that $390 investment brought back over $9,000 for myself and my clients. If you want to join me on Saturday and bet the Kentucky Derby exactly how I am doing it, pick up my Kentucky Derby package over at WagerTalk.com. Not only will you get my exact wagers and betting strategies for the race, I'll also include my top sports pick for Saturday in either football, baseball, or basketball. Join me this Saturday for my Kentucky Derby package over at WagerTalk.com, just $39.
Teddy, we're back. It's Wager Talk today. I just want to run through a couple of streaks, and I'm going to ask you a question that Talisman posted in the forum, and then Ralph Michaels. Teddy, some baseball streaks. I mean, everybody is rolling right now. Ralph is on a 5-0 baseball run. I'm on a 6-1, 10-2, and 35-15 baseball run. Tony Finn, 12-5 baseball run. Oscar, I'm 12-3. Our NBA streaks, you're leading the way, my friend. 6-0 and 23-7 NBA run. And Gianni, after a 9-0 all sports day yesterday, 8-1 run. Listen, Eddie, I got a question for you. Talisman wants to know, when do you take listed pitcher versus action in baseball?
That's a really good question, and especially this year where many of the books have moved to action unless you list. And in my mind, there's only one reason I ever want to list a pitcher. Otherwise, I'm taking action. But if I'm laying a price, if I have a favorite and that's the guy I want on the hill, if I'm laying minus 180 or minus 250 or whatever it is, he doesn't pitch, I don't want to be stuck with that minus 180 or minus 250 or minus $3 on a second-tier hurler. So when I'm involved with chalk, when I'm involved with an ace-level pitcher, that's the only time I'm interested in listing. Otherwise, I'll go action.
That makes total sense to me. Guys, as you can see on the scroll, we are listing the Gold Sheet's power ratings. So check that out and check out the Gold Sheet. Let's bring Ralph Michaels in. And Ralph, let's start right off the bat with what is our special on the Gold Sheet? You're the guy that knows all of this stuff.
Yeah, well, the Gold Sheet is $200. It's going to take you for football all the way through May. So if anyone plays football through May, but, my thought is basically it's free. While there's a $200 cost, you're also getting $200 in bonuses, wager bucks, and the Setch. So basically free this year. Just go to goldsheet.com.
Ralph, we love having you on, dude, every day. It's Ralph Michaels, TNA. Teddy and I are just going to stand back and hand you the mic.
Okay, well, we always start with our angle of the day, and yesterday's was, the Chicago White Sox. They came into yesterday with 11 straight wins versus lefties. Make it 12 straight, so pay attention to the weekend. They're not facing a lefty today. But how about this? Teddy, I got a quick question for you. Do you look at righty and lefty records?
I don't look at righty and lefty records. I do look at righty and lefty the matchups against the opposing pitcher. Meaning, can the team hit righties or lefties? But the records to me are meaningless.
How about this for an angle of the day? The Washington Nationals 4-21 versus righties, 8-2 versus lefties, and they are the number 2 hitting team versus lefties. I mean, to me, it just jumped off the board today. So the angle of the day. The Washington Nationals are facing a lefty today. They're 8-2 against lefties, only 4-21 versus righties. Situational play. I'm going to go to a nice-sized dog today. Pittsburgh, you can find Pittsburgh even as high as plus 185. I make this game Pittsburgh only plus 20, so there's almost 50 or 60 cents of value. Castillo, to me, is well overpriced. Reds are 1-6 in his start, a 5.31 road ERA, a 1.62 whip. Brault has had no support, but a 2.0 ERA, a 1.1 whip. The last 7 days, Pittsburgh hitting much better than Cincinnati, slugging percentage almost 12 spots better. And day-night games, again, another question for you. If you look at them, Teddy, Reds only 3-8 in day games compared to Pittsburgh, 8-6 at night. Look at the disparity for Pittsburgh. 8-6 in day games, 3-18 in nighttime action.
That's one of those stats you see it. it stands out like a so you're like, what? 3-18 at night? You think that's random, or you think there's something to that?
There are some players that are day and night. I don't put much into day and night. Obviously, I pulled it up for this. And all these stats that I'm pulling out are available for free. If you go and download the WagerTalk First Pitch newsletter, you're getting 2 full pages for each game. You're getting pitcher logs, first inning logs, fifth inning logs for pitchers and teams. You go to WagerTalk.com, go to my homepage. It's a free download available every day. So that's the first pitch. The WagerTalk Did You Know? It's college football. I've got to talk college football. So there are some disparate numbers weeks 1 through 2 through 5. Week 1 away favorites, I went back to 2014. Week 1 away favorites, only 43% against the spread and 63% to the under. Does that surprise me? No. But games 2 through 4, look at the difference. Away favorites, 55%. A 12% difference from week 1, once they have a game under their belt, games 2 through 4. And why did I use games 2 through 4? Because those were traditionally the non-conference games prior to starting a conference schedule. And look at the over-unders as well. Week 1, when you have an away favorite, 63% to the under. Games 2 through 4, 54% to the over. So big disparities. Be careful laying the chalk in a team's first game. Don't worry about it, games 2, 3, and 4.
Ralph, congratulations on a big day yesterday, man.
Prez, I've got another streak there we didn't mention. My 4% best bets, now 18-4 the last 22. So, I have one more thing I got to bring up. Right after us is Pony Pundits. Why do I have to mention that today? Well, it's the Kentucky Oaks today. It's the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Sig's in town from Pennsylvania. Of course, Sig's plays are available. Sig's sitting right now, ready to take my seat for Pony Pundits. In the Kentucky Oaks today,
put him on.
Sig says, watch out for the upset. Do not take Gamine. He likes Swiss Sleigh Driver, the number 2 horse on the board, to win the Kentucky Oaks, which is later today.
Man, I'll tell you, Sig is so good at what he does. And him and Marco, that's such an outstanding show, the Pony Pundits. And guys, that's up next at 1 p.m. Eastern. At 2 o'clock, we have our baseball show, First Pitch. And of course, at 3 o'clock, both Teddy and Rob Vino will be on our NBA show. First Pitch does go on the weekend as well. Guys, hit that like button. 237 people watching. Ralph, do you think it's a coincidence that our viewership spikes every time you come on?
Well, they like a pretty face. What can I tell you? It's, stats and angles are fun, and people think that I'm a technical handicapper, and truly I'm not. I'm much more a situational, matchup handicapper, but, I always want to have as much information as I can. So there's some of these angles we look at. There's some we ignore. There's some that's wow. So to me, an angle, you're never going to bet a play on a trend or an angle, but they sure are fun to talk about and look at.
That is for sure. Guys, remember what Ralph said at the beginning? If you go over to the Gold Sheet, get their subscription for the year. It's $200. We actually give you back that $200 in wager bucks that you can use at both Sports Memo and Wager Talk, so it ends up being free. As well, Sunday, our $199 promotion ends, right, Ralph?
It does, and I'll tell you what, it is gangbusters. And why shouldn't it be?
Insane.
This is a historic month. First time ever we've had NHL, NBA, college football, NFL, baseball, the U.S. Open, the Kentucky Derby. Every play from every capper. So a lot of people are going to go out and buy Marco's $39 Kentucky Derby package. Think about it. For just $160 more, they're getting every sport for 30 days. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I suggest you guys do that. For me, I got a 5% play in hockey tonight. It's $40, so get my $199 one instead. Teddy, anything you want to say before we call it a day?
Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games and good luck. Prez and I will be back with you on Monday, Labor Day. You better believe we have a show on Monday. We'll be here. Ralph will be here. We'll talk to you then. Enjoy the weekend. Best of luck with all of your bets.